Who's already applied for a visa? That's good. Who's already got their visa? No, that's not so good. No, don't worry, it's not that bad. The problem is, as some of you may realise, that visas are now done in Sheffield, so it takes a little while. Obviously, you apply here, sent over to Sheffield, but of course the good news is you don't have to pay, so that already puts you ahead of a lot of people. For those of you who have not applied yet, please do so as soon as possible. When we sent out the final award letters, there should have been a little accompanying brief about how to apply for your visa. It really is pretty straightforward. You know, just have the documentation, have the Khas, and have your final award letter, and please apply as soon as possible. A lot of people ask us, well, you know, if it's late, can you hurry it up for us? Unfortunately, our powers of persuasion with the Home Office, because it's now the Home Office that run the visa application process, are not that good, particularly at this time of year, because there are so many. There are so many students who have already applied, are applying, and like you, hope to be there for September. If there really is a genuine problem, you can contact us and we can flag it up, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we'll be able to do anything. If the Home Office is exceptionally busy, it'll say, yes, we've noted it, but we've also noted several thousand others and we will get around to it. So please apply as soon as possible. So once you get to the UK, you will be met by a very friendly immigration officer who will whiz you through the airport. You will hopefully meet up with your luggage and then proceed to wherever you're going. And this is where you need to start planning. You know, quite often the airports are not that close to your colleges. Obviously, the people in London and Manchester, the bigger cities, it's okay. Some of you studying some of the prestigious but more rural establishments will have a bit of a trek. Coaches are always a good way of going, and the reason I say that, as you will probably see through this presentation, we talk about budgeting and saving money. Unfortunately, the UK is a little bit expensive, particularly in London, so I would always suggest budgeting. Harun, how did you find it when you first arrived in the UK? A bit daunting?
I wouldn't encourage so much saving. I would suggest it's adequate. I wouldn't say spend, keeping in mind that you have months to go on, but just be a little careful, especially for those who live in London. London is about £200 per month more expensive than people living outside London. You must experience the culture. So you must save to spend it some point at time, not to just save it and bring it back to Pakistan. Don't do that. Go to Scotland, go to Ireland, go to Lake City, Lake District. Don't miss that out. Especially on 31st December, go to Scotland. Fireworks.
So it seems I'll tell you all the boring official stuff, and Harun will tell you what it's really like, and have a great time. Right.
Just in terms of accommodation, so you have two options. You can either opt for your university accommodation or your private rental. University accommodation is generally more expensive, as it normally includes bills, and your university can advise you on housing in the local area.
Yeah, obviously. What has happened in the past is a lot of people who had no right to stay in the UK rented accommodation, which obviously caused a lot of problems. This is just one of the things that the government has done to make things a bit safer for all those who visit. You know, obviously making sure that those who are genuinely coming into the UK are welcome, and those who've got no right to be there are less welcome, and so it makes a better experience for all of you who are going to have a great time in the UK. Just one point about housing. As someone who used to live in London but now has to live quite a way away, you've got to balance where you live, which is going to be cheaper the further away, than perhaps how much your journey costs. You know, it's really great if you find this magical apartment that's really good value, but if it's a long way away, A, you're going to spend a lot of time travelling, and B, particularly in London, travel can be expensive. And if you've had a hard day as a student studying, or in some people's case maybe partying, and you then have to get a long way home. It's not so much fun. That's just worth bearing in mind, that when you do find, or you're looking for somewhere to stay, balance up the cost of being closer, a little bit more expensive, to being further out, which as rent might be cheaper, but A, is more inconvenient because of the travel time, and B, the travel can also be expensive.
So we just move on. Money management, which we've spoken about, and I think we can talk about that a little more as well. Is obviously the UK can be a very expensive place to live, but there are some great discounts available. And I would like to ask Hassan if you could share some of your experiences.
Discounts?
Discounts, student discounts.
Okay, I've just written down a couple of things. I just met someone who was going with his family, wife and children. So for them, I would suggest accommodation as close to the university as possible. Traveling is very expensive in London, one. Don't save money for clothing. You will need clothing which is suitable for that particular weather. So you buy from there. Our weather is very different from theirs. The shoes, the warmers, the sweaters are very different out there. So I would suggest buy it from there. There's a place called Matalan, and I remember, so these are some of the things you can help, that will help. If you have any medical condition, it's always important and advisable to write to your university beforehand and have your subscriptions or doctor medical certificates along with you.
I think I was just going to ask you, how difficult did you find it to actually stick to your budget?
Very obviously, it was quite comfortable. I didn't have any problems. And a matter of fact, I saved a lot of money, which I didn't realize, and then I spend it on traveling and other things. So I suggest for those who live outside London, it will be very comfortable. For those who are living within London, they need to watch it carefully. So that's it. It's comfortable. It's fairly decently comfortable, and that's pretty much it.
So you can move out. Moving forward, opening a bank account is going to be a very important part of the process. So you will need to open a bank account as soon as possible, and your university can advise you on this. The thing is, we will be providing you cash cards today along with your certificates. The monthly stipends from that will be, you can use those for September and October, but at the end of October, you have to have a bank account open, because then the money will be transferred from there. So it's very important that you open this bank account as soon as you land in London. What happens is that later on you get kind of busy in your studies and everything, and you won't have time for admin stuff like going and opening a bank account, and it can take a little time as well. And I'd like to ask Hassan what that process was like, if you have any.
No difficulties. Very comfortable. Smooth.
Great.
NatWest.
I mean, the thing about the UK is we've got lots of different banks, and they all want your money, and they're going to often give students nice little gifts, enticements to come and use their account as opposed to anyone else's. So although obviously you do it quickly because you want to get it over and done with, but do have a quick look around. You can go online now, look at UK banks, look at the offers for students. You can get some discounts, some vouchers, just incentives, because all of the banks are going to be competing for your money. So, you know, again, helps you budget. Just try and get the best deal you can.
In terms of welfare and immigration, we have 2 people in London who will be advising you on this. And you can contact them via welfare@chevening.org. This presentation itself will also be available to you, so all this information will be with you as well. Just in terms of visa conditions, this is where Andy can bore us a little with the official stuff.
Yeah, anyone who's not a visitor is allowed to stay longer than 6 months, but there are a small number of procedures that you have to follow. Now, you have to now register and get a biometric residence permit. Again, your university can help you sort that out. Normally, it's done very quickly on your arrival. You'll get a card which you'll carry around with you, and one of you, I can guarantee, will lose it. So what I would suggest, use your phones, take a photograph, email it to yourself, and so at any time you'll have access to it. Even if you haven't got it, if you've lost it, you can just log on. I would also suggest you do that with your passport and your visa and anything else, you know, just common sense. Again, all these things, it could happen, you could lose it, so, you know, you've got it there again, copies online, available anytime you can just get to a laptop.
We just move back. We can just talk about police registration here. And so essentially, you know, some of you might look at this and get a little intimidated, but Pakistan is one of the countries that's exempt from this list, so we don't have to register with the police there.
Yep, that's right. Contrary to what a lot of people think, you know, we in the UK don't see you as one of the worst countries in the world. So, you know, you don't have to now police register. So that's good.
While we were talking about having your duplicate, you know, copies of your passport and all, I think when we were in Karachi, one of the alumni members rightly pointed out that you'll need your passport photographs, as many as possible, because when you open up your bank account for any other stuff, they might require that. So it'd be good to have a lot of copies of that available as well.
And get them done here. There are a lot of things that you can get here in Pakistan that will be a lot cheaper than the UK. So, I mean, you know, bringing 30 passport photos with you here is going to be a lot cheaper than getting 30 passport photographs in the United Kingdom.
We're moving on to you know, registering with a doctor at the NHS. So register with your local general practitioner when you arrive. You know, in the winters it does get cold, and a lot of scholars actually fall ill, so it's very important that you do this. Hassan, could you brief us a bit about that process?
Most GPs, you would have it on your university. You would have a small sort of surgery. So it's advisable to get yourself registered there. If you have any condition, as I mentioned before, take your prescriptions, your certificates along with you. And the problem with the UK, not problem, but the right way to do it is that if you have a temperature, you will not be subscribed antibiotics. This is because if your temperature doesn't cross 102, they will not subscribe you any antibiotics. Unlike Pakistan, where you go to the chemist and you buy off the shelf or off the counter. So you won't be allowed. They will ask you to take Panadols and Dispreens. So this is one thing. If you have any medical condition, you take your medicines along with you.
Yeah, that again is good advice. Although if you are prescribed anything, you do have to pay a contribution. There are two things you could do. One, some of your general stuff you can buy here. And as Hassan was saying, if you have a problem, a cold or a headache or a small temperature, you can normally go to a supermarket and you can get just off the shelf medication just to help see you through. One thing I should also add, you are entitled to free treatment through the GP and also through the National Health. If you have a serious problem, if there is an accident, you have an emergency, you go straight to the nearest hospital that has what we call an A&E, an accident and an emergency section, and they'll take care of you and they'll look after you.
Transport, you know, you'll need to move around, and we won't have the luxury of cars like we do in Pakistan. So as you know, some of you will know, the UK has a very efficient transport system. Public transport is widely used. Walking and cycling is very popular. And so research the most cost-effective travel options, book in advance where possible. If Hassan could tell us a bit about his experience, you know, using transport around London.
Buses are the most efficient, but very slow. And if you are an ardent fan of books, there's a book you must read, is Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister. You will understand the Prime Minister the Prime Minister, if he doesn't like a minister or he thinks he's a threat, he always assigns him the Ministry of Transportation. So Tube, wonderful for those who live in London. For those who are living outside London, you have like a Daewoo service, which is like a shuttle. You have buses, you have taxis, and you have trains. Trains are extremely efficient and fast. And everything is available on net. Student advisory, everything is available on over there. Must travel. That's my advice to you. You must experience the travel, whether it's on bus or it's on tube or on train. And
What was the longest journey you took on your many travels across the UK?
one, I went to Ireland. The other, I went to Scotland. Third, got lost. I took a wrong train, but it was fun. So it's extremely, extremely foolproof. You won't be, there's always somebody to help you. All you need to do is, that's another thing I would advise you, always ask, say please and thank you, and people would help you anywhere and anytime. Be courteous and you will get help anywhere you have a problem. Just a little anecdote, I also had an experience with the police in the UK.
You sure you want to tell us about this?
Sure, it was fun. Somebody tied his dog outside my apartment, small, and I didn't know what to do, and the dog would bark, and I didn't want it to go near, so I was advised to go to the police. So I went to the police, and they advised me to go to the dog squad, and it was closed after 5, so I had to wait till 7 till the owner came in and he untied the dog. What I'm saying is the police out there is extremely friendly, and the problems are unlike those which we experience here in Pakistan. Things like I lost my thing, things like very minor things. So that you don't need to worry and not get scared by police there. They're quite friendly actually.
That's good to know. But how many of you are actually going to study in London? Good. Transport for London, TfL, a really good website, and that's this thing here, which is the tube, as we call it. Download the app. There's at least 1 or 2 apps, you know, that just have the maps, the various different lines, and also, you know, how to get from A to B. For those of you that are living further apart and do want to travel, the main trains that used to be called British Rail, but it's now been broken up, and you've got Virgin and South West and South East and whatever, but they all do work pretty well. You can get student rail cards, and that will give you a discount. That is certainly worth having. So again, look online, you know, just Google, you know, travelling in the UK student discount, and all of those things will certainly help you get around effectively and cheaply. Those people who are going to London, cycling, I don't know if you've heard about what we call the Boris bike. The previous mayor, Boris Johnson, who's now my boss in the Foreign Office, introduced a series of bicycles that you just sort of pick up from anywhere. You pay a small rental and you can drop off anywhere and you can cycle around London. There are more and more dedicated cycling routes, and the traffic is not quite as bad as Lahore, but if you are a cyclist it can still be a bit intimidating. Great thing to do at weekends though, perhaps 9 o'clock in the morning on a rush hour, not so advisable until you're a little bit more used to it. But failing that, walking's always good and cheap.
The evening experience itself. So who to contact, who's your point of contact? First of all, obviously it's your program officer who's you know, giving you advice on various things, evening policy and evening events and everything. The welfare and immigration team. Then if we move forward, you know, you can contact your university for any course-related inquiries, and then your evening officer, you need to update them constantly on your progress so they know how you're doing. If you have any issues, they can help you out on that. In terms of the events that are happening, it's very important that you know, be involved in as many events as possible, volunteer. And there's a lot of competitions that are going on, they're very interesting. And you can also obviously join our social media, the conversation on social media using hashtag #IamChiefening. Hassan, were you involved in any of the volunteer evening competitions, or was that something that you skipped?
I wasn't involved in any of the competitions. We had a contact. She would come and then she left and somebody else came, and we a very nice support system, and it's good to keep in touch. This is one way of evening to recognize the fact that they are there for you. So they're not here to monitor anything, they're just there to make sure that you are comfortable and there are no issues, and you're getting your payments and you're getting your, there are no other problems. Because if there's a financial problem or there's a hassle with some other issue, they're always there to help you out. And that's a very good support system, I assure you, and I strongly advise you to keep in touch over emails particularly. And social media, yes, excellent.
Great. This is the very important, this mandatory event. This happens in East London, so this will be held on 22nd October, and it's probably best that you start, planning your transport or booking for this right now. And Andy, could you just talk about this a little?
Yeah, the Excel Centre in East London is a very big popular venue. Book your transport now, and if you can try and stay on for the whole of the weekend. Those of you not going for London, talk to the people who are going to London, make friends now and get accommodation cheap. I know some of you will have a long trip down. It's really important that you actually do this, not just because it's a networking opportunity, but you get some advice, you really get to see people face to face. So as Hassan was saying, you can have a lot of contact with your program officers and the welfare officers. I think that, nothing beats face to face. And it is one of, I think, only a couple of mandatory events that the Chevening Secretariat organise. But it is, we're sending so many people from around the world. It's an amazing opportunity to network. And again, make friends, and then hopefully the year afterwards they'll invite you back to their country, and you travel around and get free accommodation just like we do as diplomats. I mean, it's great. Use the networking opportunities that are provided for you to just enhance all of the experiences.
So moving on, we do live in the age of social media. So in Chevening, they strongly encourage you to become a Chevening social media ambassador. You can contact your program officer about how to apply for this. You become an official social media ambassador, so you can share all your experiences there with us in an official capacity. Obviously, we've spoken about this in detail before as well. And there is something, the third point here, Chevening Connect. It's an exciting new platform that's just going to be launched. What Chevening Connect essentially does is it connects all your social media platforms in one area. So what you do get is basically, this is the kind of interface you can basically interact with Chevening scholars from all around the world. And our previous alumni include a lot of high-profile, influential people, so it'd be great if you connect with them, share ideas. Chevening alumni is very strong; they really look out for each other. And Hassan will also be discussing the Chevening alumni briefly. Just going forward, essentially, you can log in with your social media accounts as well. So everything, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, it is all there.
May I just
there is one.
Yeah, sorry. Why I sort of interrupted it, because Alumni Association is something we are very excited about. An alumni network. I just talked to someone who's, there he is, he's just going to answer his boss. His boss and I work together, and this is one way of networking. The other thing is, alumni, you are now a Chevening scholar holder, so you have to be part of the alumni and understand how important it is for those alumni to help you and you to be connected to them. So you need to take it as ownership of this association. I will be in touch with you, and I want to be in touch with you, so because we have so many scholars coming in every year, it's difficult at times to network with you. The other thing is about 3 things that I want you to do, and we skip those. Enjoy London Life Night. Don't tell your spouses or friends or colleagues or bosses, but do experience it. Learn about the concept of B&B, bread and breakfast. You can find very nice rooms across, very safe, no problems. And into small towns, go into small towns, Yorkshire, Ireland, Scotland, Manchester. Go and watch Wimbledon if you can. And just not restrict yourself to London in particular. Make your travel plans today. Start making them. You will get semester breaks, 1 week, 10 days, 5 days. Make the best of it. And I didn't come back to Pakistan for a good I made sure my holidays were spent in the UK.
That's actually a very good point. The visas are normally issued for the course of your studies plus 3 months, I think. So, you know, a lot of people, some of you who are working, you've only got that 12 months off, you're going to come back. Others will be able to stay on and really travel and really enjoy the UK. You know, it is an amazing opportunity, but you don't get it all for nothing. As Hassan has said, when you come back, we want you to join up to the Achieving Alumni Association of Pakistan to contribute. You know, but again, it's an excellent networking opportunity. We've got nearly 1,500 people here across the whole of Pakistan. You know, some who were Achieving Alumni some time ago and have now risen to the lofty heights that we always knew they were going to. Consequently, exceptionally well placed to help you. It's a give and take network. You know, they're here to help you, and they will do. And at the same time, you will help them, you will help us, you will help the next generation of Chevening students. So again, you know, register with the Chevening Connect. It's something that's only just started. I've been to several presentations and keep telling people it's coming, but it is now here, and it's really good news. It's a very, very good tool. And at the same time, we will be working here in Pakistan with the Alumni Association to create our own database, just to double check that you can keep in contact with each other.